Here inside the CitrusTV studios for a web edition of Cuse Countdown, I'm Paul Mancano alongside KJ Vaughn and Nicole Hansen talking Syracuse basketball, SU and Louisville away on Sunday at 2 o'clock. Guys, I'm still reveling in that win over Duke.
It's unbelievable that they keep being able to make it back from these about these great teams with these comebacks, and it's insane. It's insane. It really is unbelievable.
It is. I mean, Jim Boeheim at one point said, you only get so many opportunities, so many buzzer beaters, and it seems like they've already used up all of them, and then they got another one. So I don't know if they got a rabbit's foot or something, but somebody's watching out for them.
And another buzzer beater from John Gillen. We've seen that before. One of the last times we saw that was against Louisville. He hit one with about 30 seconds left, had a chance to win it in regulation. Couldn't quite get it done as we look at the last time these two teams met a couple weeks ago inside the Carrier Dome. Back then, Louisville was ranked 8th. Now they're ranked 7th. It was a close one all the way. Syracuse able to come back in the second half, make it close down the stretch. John Gillen, as mentioned, had a chance to win it, couldn't get it done. They go to overtime, and in overtime, Syracuse gets close. A couple Tyler Roberson missed free throws, ends it as Syracuse loses by 4. Tyler Lydon led the way. He had 14 points and 9 rebounds. And the point guard, Frank Howard, had 8 points and 2 assists, one of his more productive outings of the season. So that was the last time these two teams met. Let's take a look ahead for this time. Some updated statistics heading into this one. Syracuse at 17 and 12 rather. Louisville at 22 and 6. Guys, if you look at the stats, they're pretty evenly matched all the way through.
The evenly matched part up until obviously the opponent's points per game is a little bit less reassuring, but up until that point, that's pretty reassuring for Syracuse fans looking at this. They're not too far off from this really good team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty close, draw down the middle. The one thing that really surprised me, oddly enough, is that head-to-head. I mean, Louisville 17-8 in overall head-to-head matchups. That's kind of a surprise considering that these are, old Big East foes. I would have thought maybe Syracuse would have taken a couple more from Rick Pitino in the cards.
Well, Louisville has been terrific as of late, and especially this season. They are on fire, coming off a loss against UNC, but still one of the best teams in the nation, definitely one of the best in the ACC. Syracuse, though, they have 3 wins over top 10 teams. What do they have to do on Sunday if they want to pull off the upset and get that 4th win over a top 10 team?
My key to this game is you have to prepare for that big moment. And we've seen in a lot of these big rival games, a lot of the big ranked team games, there is a big moment. You saw it with Duke. You got the buzzer beater at Duke. Even NC State, you have another buzzer beater there. There has to be either a big man or a big player who shines or a big moment that seals the deal. And I think that's what needs to happen. It can't just be Tyler Lydon and Andrew White scoring their normal amount of points that they score. That's great and all, but these big wins, there needs to be a big shining moment. And I think if there is one, then Syracuse has a lot better chance of getting this one.
Okay, Nicole, yours is a little more abstract or out there. I'm going to go more on just the actual basketball side of things, if you will. I'm going to say defensive rebounding. Now, if you guys remember the Duke game, great win for Syracuse, but through the whole thing, I remember thinking, how in the world has Duke not done more to pull away at this point? They were getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound, and it's one thing to give a team like Duke, who I think is good, but not quite as good as Louisville, second and third chances when you're at home in the Carrier Dome. When you go down to Louisville and you're playing in a tough environment and Cuse already has trouble on the road and Louisville's better than Duke, you're going to give them second and third opportunities, you're not going to have a chance. So they have to get the first rebound, box out, and go up and get it.
Really was amazing that Syracuse was able to pull off that victory, considering how they got crushed on the glass just about the entire game. All right, KJ, you predicted Syracuse's win over Duke. We all doubted you here on the show. What are you calling? Is Syracuse going to pull off another upset? We're all waiting on your word here.
I thought about it, and then I said, well, you can't always pick Syracuse. It seems like maybe I could, but I can't. I will go away from Syracuse this time. 84-75, I'll take Louisville. But despite the loss, I feel like Syracuse is going to take some good things out of the loss. There's a couple different ways you can play a game. You can play well and lose, and I feel like that's how it's going to play out for Cuse. And it's going to be a little bit of a building block loss, if that kind of makes sense, because they struggle so mightily on the road, and I think they can solve a couple of those questions, but ultimately they just don't have quite enough firepower. And I think push comes to shove, they're not going to be able to get that key defensive rebound or that key stop to stop a Cards team that can just score the rock like none other.
Finally, you're not making me look like the pessimist here by picking against Syracuse. I'm going with Louisville as well, 73-65, though a little bit less scoring on that end. I think that I agree. There could be good things that come out of this. I think coming out of this win, it could go either way. There's only 2 games left, so it might be a little bit slow coming out of that high win, or they could be ramping up further for the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament if they happen to get there. I think, though, that Louisville's too much of a tough environment, as you said. So many struggles on the road that it's really difficult to think that this team, who's only had 2 road wins all year, can go into an environment like this and win this game when they had struggled in Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech, who are very much so not quite as good teams as Louisville is. So that's going to be a real struggle for them, and I don't think they'll be able to pull it out. But they will learn things to be able to take into Georgia Tech at the end of the season.
All right, 2 predictions for Syracuse losing on Sunday, but with this team, hey, expect the unexpected. Syracuse and number 7 Louisville at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky, Sunday at 2 o'clock. For KJ Vaughn and Nicole Hansen, I'm Paul Mancano. Enjoy the game, Syracuse.